Choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. You can't avoid homelessness in America. It's the worst if you were born a white boy to a single mother and therefore by default disabled.
Hello everybody, it's Social Security Officer Joshua reporting with Budgie Buddies J and K. Well, I've got a lot to talk about today. Mostly, it's the epidemic or pandemic that's going on in our country. That's the real problem. And that is affordable housing. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. I'm literally fixing to be subject to that very shortly in life. Despite owning a building, a residence, a house, it's an RV, but it's a big RV and it's a mobile home and it's legitimately a place to live. You know what I mean? It's legitimately habitable and affordable. I'm disabled. I'm missing part of my brain from birth because my biological birth giver did drugs because she's on welfare and didn't have to answer for any of her actions. She got pregnant with me and then, ran out of the welfare money, so she sold me to sexual slavery. I ended up in a mental hospital, about to be medicated when I was 5 years old. Got pulled out of there and adopted. Was able to get proper treatment right away and was able to develop into a decent human instead of, someone who belongs on the streets. All right. Despite a few misdemeanors, and most of them can actually be explained away, with some of them even including video evidence of just straight up witnesses lying about things. That's the biggest problem I've had in courts, witnesses lying about things and just not being able to show evidence or not having to force them to show the evidence they claim to have to be able to fix anything. They really are convenience oriented. They just want to sweep it under the rug and move on to the next. So that's it for my criminal record. Okay. Spending history. I've learned to live within my means, so I haven't had to borrow money since I've been on disability. That's killing me because now I have no credit score. Okay. I'm making almost as much now on disability income as I was making at the peak of my earning, working 45 hours a week for 10 years in a row. Okay. Now, this is the difference. I am delayed development, not arrested development. That's the difference between me and a lot of these crazies that can't get along with other people. Okay, the hardest person in the world I have a hard time getting along with is myself. Severe socialized anxiety disorder. I walk on eggshells around everybody, just because look what happened to me as a kid. Yelled and screamed at for not acting perfect. And now as an adult, that's, just nothing that we can do about it except me just having to work harder at being a little more normal about it. Delayed development, it's a form of mental retardation. I hope YouTube doesn't ban me for that word, calling myself what I actually am. All right. Anyway, so we understand where I've come from, where I've gotten, and where it looks like I'm going to be able to get. Now, if I get a part-time job to re-enter the workforce, now that it's been a while and I've got over my seizures were from that child abuse and all that stuff. Me acting normal was causing problems with my sleep and eventually caught up with seizures. It was misdiagnosed as epilepsy, malpractice to the point of, where I lost my job and had to get on disability. And, with my adopted parents and me, we were able to find this home and have an affordable place for me to live independently. Well, they sold the my dad sold the property after my mom passed away, and I had to find a place of my own. Well, that was 2021. Things have changed. Even though I'm making almost as much as I was full time back in the day, that same apartment I found for $550, $600 that I was able to get for real renting man, it's $12, $13, $14, $1,500 a month now. And I wouldn't say that the work I do would be worth any more than I was making. So that hasn't just stayed in that town. It's all over the whole country. I've looked everywhere at this point, and there's nowhere for less than that except with RV lots with my RV. The problem is all of those are still over 35% of what I get on my income. Even if I worked a part-time job, I might make a little more than 35% of my income to be able to rent one of those spots. But the problem is, and I really want to rent for real, because I've got stuck in the personally renting from people like this situation I'm in now that I'll be explaining, and I don't want to do it. I want a real rental. I don't like these personal rentals because these people can just, I don't want you in here anymore because you're not paying attention to my need for addiction, my addiction for attention or whatever. And it's like, that's not what I'm paying for. Hey, well, then I want you gone out of here. It's like, you can't just do that. Yeah, I can, because it's not legitimate. And, you know, that's, like I said, for the courts of this guy, I'm having a legal battle with it in court. Got court on 31st, as a matter of fact, which is, yeah, exactly a week from now. So, anyway, which means, yes, the landlord here terminated my long-term lease early, tried to fraud me out of a month's worth of rent that I paid early, and doesn't care if I'm going to end up homeless, which is, let me explain. Like I said, I'm trying to do this legitimate. I'm trying to find a legitimate rental. I'm trying I was trying to get out of here on time, but when he started harassing me and shutting off my utility stuff and committed perjury and actually broke the law, I said, no, I have to actually stand up for myself and fight. And now that it's getting to the point where, you know, it's fight or flight for real, I'm like, well, I'm still going to have a backup plan and still be ready to move out somewhere. So I've been frantically looking for a couple weeks now for another place to live, to put this RV. And like I said, I found a couple RV spots, but because I don't make 2/3 of my income, I can't even rent the cheapest spots available in this country, which means I'd have to put tires on this thing, rent a truck, or hire a moving company and to move this thing for me. And, you know, so I was like, well, maybe I'll just sell this thing, or, you know, and pack up, take a bus somewhere. There is not a single apartment or rental anywhere, again, within the 2/3 of, or the 35% of my income, anywhere in this country. There's nowhere for me to go and get a place to live, even though I'm making, you know, almost as much as I was making full time back in the day. I can't make, and I'm technically making enough to pay rent and still live. It might be closer to deposit, and I might have to do some side work, you know, to save up any money or to buy any extra things. But I could technically do it. But because of that rule, that you have to be rich enough rule, not just rich enough to afford it, but more than rich enough to afford it, I'm gonna be out on the streets. My only two options is another personal rental, which, again, they've already filled up. The ones that were around here are already filled up a few months ago, and I mean, just one more place for me to, maybe two more places for me to try when I can get in town and move around a little bit to put this. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to find a place to pay to store this or get rid of this camper. To the point, like, I won't have enough time to sell it. Probably won't have enough time to sell it, and I probably won't get enough to make it worth anything. So I'm literally just looking into just burning this thing down right here, and that will actually work into the second part of my plan, which is, because assisted housing is really the only way I'm going to ever be able to get a legitimate rental, because they'll reduce my cost down to that 35% and pay the difference. And this is the trick. If I could find a place like that place up there, you know, for right down the road for $500 or $700 a month, to put this thing and live there for the 6 months, 7 months, even if it's deposit and working a little extra, till I get on that housing, boom, that would reduce that price, and then they'd actually be paying less than if I were to end up in a $1,200 a month place, because they're still only going to, you know, make my payments 35%, and then they'll be paying, you know, 65% of $1,200 instead of $600, $700, $800. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's actually going to cost them more in the long run if I end up homeless and having to get rid of this RV. Which is actually the taxpayer, because the cronies in government, they actually make money off of every extra bit of money that they have to spend on to, quote, keep me disabled, which is really what it seems like. It's like they're keeping me disabled, because being homeless, I'm not going to be able to get that part-time job. I'm not going to be able to get that extra money. Now, here's the other trick. If I were to get a part-time job and use that with my income or my Social Security deposit income to get a place to live, problem is, in the long run, is if I do that more than like so many hours a year, I'm going to lose my disability, is what I understand from what I've been looking up on the rules. That's scary, because then that means that should that job work out for the short long term, but not the long term, then I'm right back on disability, but going back through the whole loop of homelessness and attorney, when I could have just been doing that. The other thing is, so that just wouldn't work out. I would just, or if I lose my disability with that and I work a part-time and I somehow get to full-time, that full-time job, because I don't believe I've got the capacity to carry on like a normal person under those pressures constantly without falling out. And I'm talking like grand mal seizures, not me consciously being like, oh, I quit because no, I'm talking just, like I said, they misdiagnosed it as epilepsy at first because they were so epileptic in nature. So the other thing is, okay, let's say I do carry on a full-time job. Well, I'm probably only going to be making what I'm making now, which is still less than 35% of everything everybody's going to be expecting for rent. So if I'm not already in somewhere, or I have to find somewhere else to go again, or decide to move, you got to be rich now to rent. And I mean rich, not just minimum wage, got a full-time job, working all day, every day to pay my bills rich. No, you got to be like superiority elite rich, or already well off, or from a generation or two ahead of me. That's really what it is. It's a generational gap. So I watched the people a generation ahead of me. They got into their properties in their early adulthood, and now they have that, and they got a career job, and they were able to have enough extra money to save money and invest. By the time I got to that point, not only was, again, I just developmentally, delayed huge, still to this day, but all those opportunities, especially for people at the bottom rung, no matter what your color, they're gone. Unless you're an illegal immigrant, they're gone. They're gone. Gone. Yep. So anyway, I'm going to court on 31st to explain that my water's been off for a month, which has kept me from being able to take a shower and go and present myself properly to go look for a place and work. My electric bike motor's been out. I bought a new motor for it 2 months ago, and it took a month to get made, and it's supposed to be being shipped right now. I'm supposed to get a tracking number on it on Monday, and it should be here within a week, which will be able to put me on my bike to get around, to be able to start asking around and looking around. Plus all the stuff that landlord put me through before, and I'm continuing to go through with him. And the fact that I have been, genuinely looking for another place to go. I'm genuinely understanding the rules in reality. I'm not trying to avoid responsibility or anything. I'm genuinely trying to get up in here and get long-term housing, preferably my own property, so I don't have to go on assisted housing. With this RV and a $10,000 piece of property, I could afford to live the rest of my life on this. Maybe, again, even get a part-time, full-time job and live off of that. I was even looking into solar panels and batteries and having fun with that, but now, without being able to live in this RV, or at least a building with utilities, especially the big thing about being on the street. See, I was able to live in a tent for a few months at a time here and there back in the past. And the crime wasn't good, but it wasn't terrible. But now I imagine the crime is outrageous, and I'm terrified of having to deal with that. I'm afraid I'm going to get seriously harmed or killed, or end up having to seriously harm or kill. And I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't know if my heart wants that. It will handle it. So I'm literally looking at what I was talking about earlier, going to jail. Set it in, not necessarily using arson as a cause, but that would be a good reason if nothing else works, and I'll explain that. Okay. What I really would like to do is, again, put this RV somewhere for a couple $100 a month or somewhere, for somebody to hold on to it for me, and go and camp out in front of the courthouse and make some videos like this on it until they arrest me for that. And if that doesn't work, when I get sick of that, I'll go and steal a banana and force them to arrest me over it. You know what I mean? And just literally just do whatever I got to do, stay in jail, and be honest about it. I'm literally just staying in jail so I can save up my SSDI to buy me some property, so I'm gonna get out and get my stuff out of storage unit, get my RV out of storage, move on to the thing, and actually live a good life again, without anybody else being able to, I'm emotionally unstable and I want you to go. No more of that. But if I can get on housing assistance, I should be able to get the same effect. I should be able to get a real rental, not one of these private, emotionally dysregulated, crazy, insane. I mean, I would say predatory, but because they're the only thing available, and sometimes especially if you can call them on the predation, you can get a little less expensive. Or like me right now, I'm not paying anything because, again, I'm taking this to court because, I mean, what else am I going to do? I'll explain that stuff after court, what all he's done. That'll make a good video. So I guess I'll end that here. And J&K, is that all you guys got to say today? All right.
The worst part of this situation that's heartbreaking is I'm going to end up having to get rid of J and K, give them away, and it's going to be real hard on them. That's what really breaks my heart. I feel so bad that they're not going to have me around anymore, especially just after we started getting bonding and everything. I can't imagine anybody else ever getting to love these birds as much as they get loved by me. Until next time.